Without even thinking about it, very often we speak with idiomatic expressions. When we want someone to be patient, we tell them to hold their horses. Or when we think something is great, we say that it takes the cake. Usually we don't know where these phrases come from, why we say them. They've just become part of our language. But today, Jesus gives us one of those idiomatic expressions, saying, "Can a blind person guide a blind person?" We often say, it's like the blind leading the blind. How can someone who doesn't know or who is unaware lead someone to something, whatever it is? But it's really, when we think about it, so true. Can a blind person guide a blind person? Not at all. No offense to people who can't see. But each of us, whether blindness in our hearts, blindness in our souls, maybe sometimes we can't hear or see something right in front of our face, how can we expect to lead someone else to it? Jesus then goes on to say, how can someone with a wooden plank in his own eye remove the splinter from his brother's eye? And it's true. How can we who are blind in some way, who have our eyes unfocused, or who don't have our gaze fixed on really where we are going, seek to be able to help encourage someone else on that same path? We look to God. We acknowledge our faults. We acknowledge what prevents us from seeing Him plainly with eyes of faith, seeing Him clearly. And only then, once that plank is removed from our eyes, once that sin is removed from our hearts in confession, once that discouragement is removed from our hearts through prayer, through conversation with God, through hearing His Word, through listening to the encouragement of others, only then can we seek to help others on that same path. Lent starts in a few short days. It is our annual journey, fixing ourselves to the cross, walking with Jesus on that road to Calvary because we know it ultimately leads to heaven. It is our annual opportunity to take a good look at ourselves. What blinds our eyes from seeing God and His work in the world? What blinds our hearts from knowing His love, distinguishing it from every other thing that's trying to take attention away from Him? And then, with that newness of sight, with that cleanness of heart that God so generously offers to us, can we then not only walk ourselves in confidence, but lead others in confidence as faithful followers of Jesus and instruments of His great, merciful, compassionate, and selfless love? Only then can we seek to lead others in that same way. Let's be encouraged these days to have our hearts filled with what the Lord desires to give us in order to free us to live the life that He has called us to.